2016 is now on track to becoming the warmest year on record, and no other place is feeling the effects more collectively than the polar ice caps. Climate scientists have in fact discovered that ice at both ends of our planet is shrinking to ever new lows. This is in fact rather unusual even for this time of year when the amount of ice on the caps is supposed to increase. To discuss it all, we want to bring in Dr. Ari Friedlaender. He's an ecologist and associate professor at Oregon State University's Marine Mammal Institute. He joins me now via Skype from Newport, Oregon. And Doctor, I know you have made dozens of trips to Antarctica. You've studied animals there, the climate there. It's really your life. What to make then of these changes we're seeing?
Well, they're very real. The part of the Antarctic that I spent most of my time in, the Antarctic Peninsula, is warming almost more rapidly than any other place on the planet. And the ecosystem that is set up there, basically focused around sea ice, is changing in dramatic ways.
It seems as though every month that passes, I read a new news story. This is the warmest month on it, the warmest October, the warmest November. This is the warmest year. It seems like this is going to be a story that we read ad infinitum. What impact, first and foremost, what impact are we seeing at the poles as it regards the ice cap itself?
It's sort of a big bank account that the world has of fresh water. And when that starts to melt, or that starts to change the volume of ice that's there, it's going to affect the oceans in dramatic ways. A lot of the papers and reports that come out about sea level rise are related to the change of that ice cap into fresh water.
And as the ocean grows, what exponential issues does that then bear with it?
It does a lot for the animals that are endemic to those environments, that are only found in those places. These species are really adapted to very extreme conditions, like polar bears and penguins and some of the whales. And as you change the structure of that system very rapidly, those animals simply can't adapt quick enough to those changes. And so we're seeing a lot of differences in the types of animals, the number of animals, and their distributions that we hadn't seen before.
Donald Trump vowed to roll back the Paris climate accords that were reached. What impact would that have?
It's hard to say that it would have a good impact. I can tell you that. I think there's been a lot of scientific work and a lot of credible work to show that these impacts that we as humans are having on these ecosystems are very real. And if we have an opportunity to do something to quell the effects that we have, I think it would be diligent to do that.
It's not just sea level rise or really the loss of polar ice as well. When we see and discuss climate change, we're also talking about the intensity of the wildfires that we see, the disastrous hurricanes, the rise in all aspects, yes, of extreme weather.
That's exactly right. What we're finding out is that instead of having these natural cycles of when it gets cold and when it gets warm, the peaks and valleys of those changes are more dramatic. There are higher highs and there are lower lows. They're more intense and there's more frequent storms. It's climate variability as much as it is climate warming. And these extreme events that you can't prepare for can be devastating.
Now, we've seen parts of Alaska and Greenland essentially thawing out. In fact, I know National Geographic actually redid its atlas to show that Greenland is in fact that now. It is green as opposed to the white that came with the ice cap there. Is this something that can be reversed? Is this slide at this point, are these changes inexorable?
That's a really good question. That, to be honest, that's not something I can answer. I think the best that we can do is do our research and be diligent about understanding the impacts that we're having. And it's pretty clear to be able to show these and to study these impacts. And if we can come up with solutions or things that we as humans can do to change our behavior in a way that would help to mitigate these effects, then we really are responsible to do that.
Dr. Ari Friedlaender, we very much appreciate the time. And again, for our viewers, be sure to tune into tonight's episode of Continent 7, Antarctica at 10, 9 Central on National Geographic. An important program, to be sure. Doctor, we appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me.